Hello everyone, welcome to NerdChat. We are back with Dark Knight's Metal.
Woo!
And guess what? It's another number one.
Now is this one actually Dark Knight's
Metal?
Metal?
This is the actual first issue of Dark Knight's Metal.
Okay, so
the
no
other two
prequels.
were preludes.
No preludes, no spin-offs yet. This is Dark Knight's Metal issue 1.
Now, this one is going to be a little bit shorter because of all of the stuff that we went through in the prelude. So they a lot of stuff that I talked about in there gets rehashed in here, so I'm going to skip over a lot of it.
Okay.
Because you already know it, and we're just going to be telling you the same information. So go watch the other videos, because I definitely recommend that you do. They should just be a part of the event. For some reason, they just aren't. Whatever.
Well, you know, it's kind of the whole reason why all the spin-offs are their own things. Their own number ones.
It's all important information that's in the first two that they just kind of like brush over in this one. Because like, alright, so the last ones I talked about the 4 tribes and stuff like that. This is what this one opens with, is like the 3 tribes. It's like, oh, but there was a mysterious 4th tribe, the Bat Tribe. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I just read about it for 2 whole issues.
I just read about it, you know, like Hawkman was talking about it.
But then, so like the first page is just talking about those tribes, and then issue 2 or page 2, all the League is on War World, a new War World. The old one broke a while ago. That's not important. They're on War World. Mongols like, fight, League.
Oh, okay.
I wish to watch you die. It's like out of nowhere, but the whole League is there. And if you've been reading Justice League, the Green Lanterns are Simon Baz and.
Now, Simon's the Green Lantern I don't know much about. That's the newest one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, because there's Jessica Cruz, which is the
newer
but
one. The guy.
But anyway, they've been like in Hal's place or whatever. So,
okay.
But for this, Hal is the Green Lantern that they're with, and so they're all on War World, and you'd think that they would just wreck the place easily, right? Because they're the Justice League. Turns out, Mongol had them suited all up with like different armors that that reduce their powers. So, like, Hal has, like, this glove that has, like, a miniature black hole that's absorbing all of his constructs. Superman has this chest plate that has, like, 1,000 crushed tiny little red suns on it, so he can't use his powers. Wonder Woman has, like, this venom being constantly injected into her. Barry has these, vibrational domination boots that are made by the Dominators, so that he can't use his super speed. Aquaman has these gauntlets that are... like they're made with the fire of Apocalypse, so it's reducing his powers. They all got crazy shit going on. So they can't.
What does he do to Batman? Just like
nothing.
Not let him out.
He's just a guy. Which is where they're under. That's where the problem lies. He didn't do anything to Batman. And that's where,
take his belt.
They're fighting these giant robots that all kind of resemble them, like it resembles like their logos and stuff. And they were all made by Toyman. This is Hero, like young Toyman. And he didn't want to make these, but he's being held captive by Mongol. And Batman, they noticed that the robots are only going for flesh. They won't attack the armor because that was their hope. Like, we'll use it to attack the armor and then we can get the armor broken off and be okay. But it wasn't working. And Batman's like, I have an idea because I'm Batman. And he one of his comes to bite at him. He catches the mouth and pries it open. And he's looking inside. He's like, aha. And he reaches in and smashes this bat signal button. And everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, just follow my lead. He starts to be eaten by the machine. And they're like, what is he doing? He's like, no, just trust me. Follow my lead. So they all get eaten, and it's apparently also painful because Cyborg is screaming, which he seems like the one that would not be, but anyway. They all get eaten. And they're like, oh, you've got to be kidding. And Cyborg's like, please tell me we're not kidding. And they're all mech suits made by Hero for them, but not just mech suits. So part of the thing, what he called the robots was a hint. I can't remember what it was, and I didn't write it down. But anyway, it meant come together. And everyone else can see on the screen.
Megazord?
But they've Megazord.
Oh my god,
the whole thing
so
combined
cool.
together. And they're all Mongol's like, shit.
Oh no.
So Mongol runs the fuck away. obviously. And then Barry is like, why do I have to be a foot? Which I thought was a beautiful reference to Voltron. And then Batman's like, it's simple, Barry, so you can kick his ass. So that's the end of that scene. And we cut to they're in space and they're Green Lantern's flying them all back to Earth. And Superman's trying to ask Batman about like the research he's been doing. Like, what were you doing at the fortress? He's like, you got to talk to us about it sooner or later. And he's like, Clark, I am going to talk to you about it. I am, but I still need to figure out exactly what I'm dealing with before I bring it to the rest of you. They're like, okay, fine, whatever. And then Alfred calls and he's like, Master Bruce, you need to get back to Gotham, like, right now. And he's like, okay. And the League is like, we're coming. He's like, I know. So, do you remember that mountain I was talking about?
Yeah.
Previously, where they all
That
went inside and exploded, gone, and everything? That thing just showed up in Gotham. Just like, it's on top of Gotham.
Why?
We'll get to it.
Did it, like, crush the shit out of the city, or is it just floating?
Superman at one point mentions that he can hear a lot of screams that no one else can hear, but they just kind of have to... I'll get to it.
Okay.
So, yeah, they go to investigate the mountain, and Hal says that he's feeling a lot of the same energy that he was when he was in the cave, like from the mysterious metals and stuff like that, fear. And as they get closer to the mountain, he like mentions like it is way worse than we were in the than when we were in the cave. And Cyborg's getting like a nasty feeling off of it and everything. He can't like get into the systems, get any readings on it. The only thing that's inside is like this vault. So they go inside the vault and it's like this laboratory, and they investigate a little.
So they're
further.
in the mountain.
They're in the mountain. Okay. And they go look a little further, and they find like these stasis pods. And there's a bunch of them. There's people still inside. I don't know. It doesn't say if there's they're alive or dead. They're presumably, Hawkman's crew that went in. Also, there is Red Tornado that's in there. He's not in a stasis pod because he's a robot, and you can just turn him off.
Because you can just... He's a robot.
He is a robot. So when they get... another thing they notice, they look up at the ceiling, and written in blood, it says, "It's chasing us, run." So... Ooh, what's that all about? Let's find out. So the Blackhawks show up, not the hockey team.
Good old Chicago Blackhawks, saving Gotham.
The Blackhawks are like this like covert op group.
Yeah.
And Batman has like studied them for a while. They showed up in other Batman stories, and they're led by Lady Blackhawk.
Well, they make that very, very brief appearance in the Forge, I want to say. They kind of mentioned.
They mentioned them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were in an earlier Batman run for it doesn't matter. But Lady Blackhawk, she's like, yeah, you know me as Lady Blackhawk, but she takes off her mask and she reveals herself as Kendra Saunders, which we as an audience know is another name that Hawkgirl uses.
Yeah.
So this is Hawkgirl, and they don't know that. But she's like, I need you guys to come with me. I need to explain the situation all to you.
Wait, Hawkgirl's not a part of the JL?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah.
It's
In
just
fact,
weird.
I honestly don't know if we've seen a Hawkgirl in New 52. I know we saw Hawkman, and in fact, there's one of my favorite part with Hawkman is in Justice League of America, where they're like recruiting the team for the first time, and they all show up to this meeting. But Hawkman is covered in just blood when he gets to this meeting, and I don't remember who it is that asked him. I think it's Simon Baz. He's just like, you okay? He's like, it's not my blood. But I can't recall if I've seen Hawkgirl other than in Earth 2. But so they all come. She's like, I need you all to come with me, and that's where Superman's like, we kind of have a situation here. Like, you guys can't hear the screams, but I can. Like, there's a mountain on top of a city and something needs to be done. And she's like, this is only the first step of something way bigger. I need you to come with me now. So she takes them to Black Hawk Island, which is... so Black Hawk Island is like, like Themyscira or Nanda Parbat, one of those things that's like off the radar.
Yeah.
Some people would
It
recognize
can't be found unless you know where it is.
Yeah. Some would recognize it as from the Justice League cartoon. The Blackhawks are those... the like people from World War II that like were all from different countries or whatever. So it's all that same thing. But this is where Carter Hall operates from, or where he did before he left in the previous issue that we went through.
Yeah.
So she tells everyone like this is where Hawkman operated out of before he left, and so I need to explain everything that's happening to you. So she shows him around like the relics and everything, and starts talking about the nth metal and how it gave them their powers. And I explained this in the previous issues. This is what triggered their reincarnation, their ability to fly, all that stuff. So, and this is where she explains that she did have those powers, but she got rid of them after Hawkman went missing. So she taught us about the people that they recruited to go into the mountains. It's basically rehashing all the stuff that we covered in the past 2 issues. Okay. So it's pretty much getting you caught up if you do not read those.
Okay.
And one of the things, so like Red Tornado was one of the people that went in with them and everything. And she's like, the last thing that we heard was a message from everyone inside saying, shut the door and never open it again. And a message from Red Tornado saying whatever was chasing them they called the Great Dragon. And that's so they shut the door after that when they were trying to explore this mountain. But she explains to them the multiverse, and she like brings out like the whole map, like the map that we've seen of the multiverse, like literally the exact same like poster that people have on their wall, explaining the 52 different Earths, the Speed Force, and where it's located, like all that stuff. And Barry talks about it, like I've explored the multiverse plenty, and what they've been trying to look at is where the nth metal comes from. Because it's nowhere in their multiverse. It's coming from somewhere else. And Barry is like, I've studied the multiverse thoroughly, and there's nowhere else for it to come from. She's like, unless, and she flips the map over, there's a dark multiverse underneath ours. And that's what all this event is about, is this dark multiverse.
It's the alternate.
And we don't find out for a while what the dark multiverse is, but essentially what it is, it's an accumulation of everyone's fears, everyone's nightmares.
Yeah.
So
and it's always like doomed to collapse, doomed to fail.
Yeah. So like I've made a video about the multiverse, and if you want to learn more about what a multiverse is, go check that out. I'm talking to the audience. Rick knows what the multiverse is. But so the multiverse theory in our world, real world, is like for every option or every thought, every decision that you can make, there's a universe where you made one and there's a universe where you made the other. What the dark multiverse is a universe where every bad dream, every scary thought, every fear you've had, there's a world where that is what happened. Mm-hmm. And it went the worst way possible. Mm-hmm. That's what we find out the dark multiverse is eventually. So they don't learn this for a long time. I say a long time, I mean like 5 issues from now. But that's months in comic book time.
Yeah, that's real world months.
Yeah. But so Kendra like pulls out like these scrolls and stuff, and she starts to talk more about Carter's research. Now Carter had this journal, and we know in the past issue that journal is no longer with them.
Mm-hmm.
So
he left it with the family.
Yeah, she doesn't know where the journal went, but she still has some of his research, and they have these scrolls that they were able to code, and there's really kind of 2 words they can get out of it. And one is Barbados, or something that roughly translates to that, but that's what they're able to get out of it. And she starts to talk about the legend of Barbados and who he is and how he is what this bat tribe like worshipped and stuff like that. So kind of just an idea of who he is, but there's a legend that there will be a portal for him to come from the dark multiverse to ours. And what it will take is for someone to touch the 5 divine metals. After someone's been in contact with all 5 divine metals, they will become a gateway to the dark multiverse. And one of the other thing of the legend says that the person who touches that it's reference to that they are the wagon. He will be carried through by the wagon. And there's a name that got its origin the name derives itself from the word wagon, and that's Wayne. So Wayne is the wagon, and that's what they're like getting to, is that Batman is the vessel. He's been looking into these metals, and because of that, he is going to become this portal if he keeps this research up.
So there's only 5?
There's only 5. But so what happens is they all turn to Batman and they like pull guns on him. because they're like, if we take out Batman, he can never become the Gateway.
Yeah, that's gonna end well.
Exactly. So they brought Red Tornado back, right? And Batman, like, turns him on. And Red Tornado's like, you open the gate, and just, like, starts sucking the air out of everyone. And they all get into this fight.
Oh, no!
They all get into this fight, and Hal says it best. He's like, alright, so you brought us here so you could trap Batman? That was your plan? You obviously don't know him very well at all. Guy probably had a ride ready the moment we landed here, and I can promise you, it's state of the art. And then it cuts to Batman riding away on a velociraptor on the side. He's like, Alfred, I got what we came for. Quick, get the turbo sub.
Just riding away on a velociraptor.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen, you can see it. Like, this is... He's just like, shit, Alfred, come on, get the sub ready.
State of the art.
It's my favorite part of the comic is Hal just ripping on them. Like, what? Your plan is just what, shoot Batman? Like he's never been face to face with a gun before.
Batman's been playing way too much Ark.
So Batman steals the nth metal and he brings it back to the Batcave and begins to study it. And like what he's finding is that just like the others, he can't find where this signal's coming from. Like, so he's kind of piecing together the pieces and everything. But then Alfred hears this humming, and it sounds like it's coming from upstairs. There's a little narration going on during all this about like Carter's notes and stuff. There's only one part of Carter's notes that comes into play, which Batman goes up and tries to find where the sound is coming from, because it sounds like a tuning fork. And he finds upstairs in the mansion somewhere, there's like this like burnt signal of a bat in his floor, and he lifts it up, and it's Carter's journal. Because you were right, like, and you said in the last one, it was left with the weights.
Told you I was gonna laugh in your face. So ha!
It's not like it wasn't obvious. So, in part of Carter's notes is like, I left this journal basically to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, and I'm sorry for what is coming. Because he's talking about everything that he's researched, everything we learned at this point. It was all covered in his journals and everything. But Batman stands up with the journal, and Dream is behind him.
Oh.
Yeah. And he says, the nightmare has only just begun.
Ooh.
And that's where the comic ends. So, yeah.
Interesting.
So, a lot of rehashing about what we had already gone through, because this is like the first real issue, but yeah. So, the sum of it is, Batman's research into all these metals is going to turn him into the gateway to let Barbados come through. And that's a threat that everyone's trying to stop. So, we'll get to the next issue next week, and that's even more hilarious than this one, because the whole league is just trying to catch Batman so they can help him, and he's just like, nah. And you get to see every contingency plan that Batman's ever had to try to not get caught.
No.
They're all brilliant.
Is that dude's name, does it have a T or a D at the end?
It's Barbatos. I don't know how to technically pronounce it.
Yeah, that's weird. Because it could be Barbatos, which would be the emphasis on like the Bat tribe. Mm-hmm. It could be Barbados, which is stupid.
I've heard both Barbados, Barbatos,
Barbatos. That sounds
tomatoes.
more so. Whatever. Big, goofy, dumbass with a weird
Every
name.
video that I've watched on it has called him Barbados, and I'm sticking with that. So at least
I just want to know.
at least most of the YouTube community and I can be wrong together, and that's all I can really ask for in the end. So, yeah, that's all I got. We'll get to the next issue, which is a number 2, and then we're back to another number 1 because we're gonna start covering some tie-ins.
The Dark Knights.
Yeah, the Dark Knight. People know. Yeah, we're gonna go over the Dark Knight's origins. You'll learn more about them if you don't know what we're talking about. They're freaking cool. But yeah, all the YouTube stuff at the bottom. Like, comment, subscribe. Hope you didn't hate this video. And if you want to have us cover any other comics other than this, shit.
If you want to have us cover anything, send your suggestions to us.